Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am Sam, I'm an artist, illustrator and aspiring knitting designer coming to you from Dublin in Ireland. If you're new to this channel, this was born as an attempt of a knitting podcast in which I like to share all my crafty adventures in terms of knitting, finished works, works in progresses, acquisitions, anything that is happening in that world, but lately it turned into a all-around crafting and art adventures podcast. I usually share with you all my projects in terms of the knitting, of course, and as well some crocheting, some paintings that I've been doing, books that I've been reading, travels, anything and everything that is happening in my artistic life, everything outside the 9 to 5 work type of situation. Back in the days, this used to be a weekly, even sometimes bi-weekly podcast, and now it turned more into a monthly update. I have been quite busy. My job has turned, if you follow me sorry for the squeaky chair, it's so annoying. I will say, if you follow me on my journey here, I have changed role in my job. It's basically a promotion in terms of responsibilities and duties, but not in terms of a pay rise anyway. It's just very, very busy, and unfortunately, bills have to be paid, so I have to dedicate more time to that, which takes off a bit of a chunk of my knitting and art situation. But I won't bother with you about all of this. How have you been doing? This is the June update, and we have quite a bit to talk about. Although I am not sure what I'm going to talk about, as I haven't done much either crafting or artworks or anything literally. I've been reading a lot. That's something we may touch base on. So yeah, not sure. We'll take it as it comes. If you don't find any value on this podcast, please feel free to drop off. I have received a bunch of quite interesting comments, so I won't keep you here. But please, before you drop off, if you're not interested, just jump to the end of the podcast. I put the timestamp here. I would like to give a shout out to a couple of online friends, podcasters here on YouTube and over Instagram. They are organizing a Pride knit along, make along. So I am going to talk about that, give you all the links, all the informations at the end of this podcast. But if you're dropping off, please just jump to the end, have a listen to that, check my links below, and big shout out to these amazing guys that are organizing such a important, if I may say, thing. But yeah, let's come back to us, shall we? So let me drop that off. What am I starting with? I'm starting with the finished work that I have kind of flashed over here. Before I give you some more life update, here is the only finished work that I have for this month. And this has a very interesting shape. Let's show you this one. So this is, of course, a sock with a heel tab. It's very simple, and accidentally it has all the Pride colors as well. It's a rainbow, so perfect for this month of June, in which we celebrate our amazing LGBTQA plus community. Let me talk a bit about this sock here. I received a few questions. I was showing this to you last month, and yeah, I received a few questions about the pattern. So, the pattern for this sock is something that I was planning to release as an original pattern, but I never got to do that because life, once again. I thought of running a test in it, and as well getting the pattern checked by an editor. That didn't come about. I couldn't find time, and I always kept the pattern here in a little piece of paper written up. So now, I think I showed you this before in my other podcast, but I'm going to give to you the pattern. So if you have the ability, take a screenshot. This is the first page. I'll flash it up there. Here you go. I think it's Control or Command F for what you call it, MacBook. I'm not sure for other platforms, other computers, but you can take a picture with your phone if you want. And this is the back or the toe of the pattern. Do you get it? Fantastic. So I wrote this up. And as you can see, the piece of paper is very crumpled because I've been using this a lot. I was looking for a very simple short sock with a heel tab. I wonder if I have any. I'm wearing some right now, but I'm not going to show you my feet. Anyway, I find them very comfortable. There is a sport brand called Under Armour that does this type of socks, of course, machine-made socks, but not knitting socks, like sport shorties. They are extraordinarily comfortable, and they work with a heel tab, so a little, how can I explain this? Raised bit of fabric towards the heel, which is fantastic, especially if you are running a lot, like I'm lately doing. This protects your back piece of the ankle, the heel, with your running shoes, and it's extraordinarily comfortable. The other features that those store-bought socks have is a ribbing right in the center of the infoot here. In this case, I made the entire sock as a 2x2 rib. You can play around. The pattern is extraordinarily simple to follow. I find the ribbing in the middle of the infoot being really effective to clench on your foot and not being just too loose when you are, of course, exercising, doing some sports and stuff like that. So it's absolutely a great little piece of engineering, I think. The heel is a short row heel, very simple. And I came up with this pattern kind of browsing around other designers' patterns, how putting together a heel from someone, a toe from someone else's. The tab here is something that I came up with myself because I really couldn't find anything that was as effective as I wanted. So it works out fantastically. Unfortunately, the piece of paper that I show you, the pattern, is full of errors. You can see some pen written marked errors, something like that. So I won't be able to sell it to you. But if you took a screenshot, you can try and kind of knit along to that. Is going to be fine. I think the stitch count is correct, at least. And then it's so simple that you can modify the pattern on the foot as much as you want to make some color works or make some small cables, 2x2 ribbing, knit it flat as you wish. It's a really comfortable and really nice. I probably have knitted this a bit too short, but I'm not quite sure. I haven't worn this yet properly. Something that I was told that I've seen my grandmother doing? My grandmother is a great sock knitter. I think she only knits socks, actually. Anyway, to measure a sock. Now, tell me if this is something that you do, that you are aware of, or if it's something completely crazy that my grandmother just came up with out of her own imagination to say. So let's take this very uncomfortable shaped sock. How does she do to measure socks? So she takes your fist and she wraps the sock all around the fist. If the sock meets at the front, at the larger part of the fist, so it means that the size is right. Otherwise, she needs to knit more to get to the size. Does it make any sense how I explain it? So basically, instead of trying on the sock, because she is knitting socks for so many people, a way to simply measure a sock for her is take the fist of the person you are knitting the sock for, wrap the whole length of the sock around, and if it meets, it's the right size. Is this something, or is just some old witchcrafty traditions that she came up with? Let me know. Do you do this type of proof for size? Anyway, I've been doing this all the time, but I found that probably this is a tad short. So I don't know if the measuring way of my grandmother is actually accurate, but it's a nice thing to kind of know. Yeah. Anyway, yarn-wise, this is opal sock yarn, 75-25. It comes in, do I have the ball? Yeah. Comes in massive 100 grams ball. It's not the cheapest yarn, and the color code, or the color name, is Room Paradise. This is the label. So yeah, 75-25, 4-ply. We do not have any other information here. Room Paradise, signature 4-ply. Did I say opal? This is West Yorkshire Spinners, so sorry about the mishap. I always keep my tags inside the ball if they are big enough to hold them, so I don't lose them. As you can see, I have a probably 50-gram ball left. I have knitted socks before using this yarn. If I'm correct, the same type of shorties. These are absolutely my favorite type of socks to knit. Anyway, here we go. The first finish work, and the only one for this week. Anyway, let's go on with the works in progress. Let me move everything here. So, as you are aware, I have been knitting a jumper in the middle of the summer, which is quite interesting, although appropriate. We haven't got any summer yet in Ireland, so it's been sweater weather, as they say, on the other side of the pond for a long time. And the jumper that I've been knitting is a body, basically. I think something just dropped. This is the Scold sweater by Yarbo. It's a great colorwork round yoke sweater that I have been made aware of, doubtful English here, by Kia's Boat in the Kia's Boat Knitting podcast. She knitted a couple of these for her husband and son-in-law, if I'm right, and they are absolutely stunning. So I couldn't resist but make myself one. And I have the body, so basically until the arm hole, and a tiny bit of a sleeve. yarn-wise, I'm using Peer Gynt Marzipan. No, what am I saying? I'm using Drops Perfect Marzipan for the main color, this beige color. Drops Perfect is a sock yarn, 75 wool, 25 nylon from Sunnes Garn. And it's a very interesting yarn because it's, of course, superwash yarn. But I have found that it sticks very much to itself and it behaves like it is not a superwash, but maintaining the softness of the superwash qualities. Does it make sense? It's a really nice lofty yarn. It's comparable to their Peer Gynt yarn, 100% wool DK from Sunnes. Both in length, weight, and I think girth of the yarn itself. Now, because I'm knitting this lice pattern, therefore there is a color work that runs through the entire sweater, the entire body, the entire length of the sleeves, and again the yoke. I am not worried about the superwash yarn to get looser and to lose shape and stuff like that. Because of course the floats here, this massive amount of floats will keep everything tight together and secure the superwash yarn, of course. So for the body, the main color, I'm using Sunnes Garn Perfect yarn. For the contrasting color, the lice pattern, the dark blue, is J.C. Rennie Prussian Blue, if I'm right. It's a thin 4-ply super soft wool, not superwash, which comes in big cones, and I have quite a bunch left. So I doubled it to make a DK, and I'm using this as a contrasting color. Meanwhile, the rest of the colors are just random pieces of yarn that I have not used. I'm losing stitches here all over the place. That I've not used, that are being leaving there to make other projects. They are not enough to make a jumper, but it's such a pity not to use them. I basically lost every stitch in this body of the jumper. I need to secure my needles. Now, yarbo patterns are very simple as they are described, they are written up. They are more like recipes. I absolutely don't like using this word because it's so vague that we don't get any description quality on the pattern itself, but they are very, very streamlined. They don't tell you every single passage, for example. Something that at the beginning I struggled massively with is to understand decreases, what type of decreases you want, or what type of increases. Those patterns just tell you increase X amount of stitches or decrease at X rate, without telling you what type of decrease. So it's up to you kind of figuring out the way to increase and decrease. But, you know, when you get used to them, it's actually very much fun to figure out the way you want to make your jumper, the way, the type of increase or decrease you choose, the type of shape you choose. You can absolutely modify every part of the jumper. In the end of the day, at the end of the day, you only have a custom number and Bob's your uncle, basically. I made some modifications to this. Am I running? Am I speaking too fast? One other feedback I got from your very kind comments, or some very kind comments, I can't put everybody in the same bucket, is that sometimes I am absolutely incomprehensible when I speak, and I'm very sorry. I am not a native English speaker. and sometimes I find myself using the pace of speaking of my mother tongue, my Italian language, in English, and as well the intonations, which makes my English language a bit skewed and sometimes may not be able to come along as I wished. So I really apologize if sometimes I'm just carried along with talking and describing stuff, and sometimes it doesn't work. Anyway, modifications. The bottom ribbing, as well as the cuffs, and I believe the neck. I will put an image of the actual, probably here, the actual jumper by Yarbo, how it should look like. It has a rolled up edge and as well a change of color in the ribbing, which I absolutely do not like, and in a second I will tell you why. So instead of that, I have been using a Italian cast-on 1x1 ribbing all the way up, and as you can see, the ribbing is quite long, probably a couple of centimeters more than what the pattern recommends. It's more simple, but it works very, very well. Unfortunately, this is a bit on the side because I was so clever not to buy enough of the main color yarn, and I was toiling with the idea of not caring about it, just knit with a yarn that is similar enough to get a very small contrast between the marzipan color and another light brown beigey color that I might have in stash, that I'm sure I have in stash, if I haven't used it. But at the same time, this jumper is so nice that I really don't want to do that. So I have to buy at least 4 more balls of the Perfect from Sandnes yarn, which is a bit of an annoyance because for 2 reasons. One is that I have to buy that online because there's no resellers here in Ireland of that specific yarns. And it will cost a bit of money in terms of shipping, which, alright, is not an issue and it's fine. I actually am looking forward to buy some yarn, some Sandnes yarn, because I have a couple of yarn quantities that are not really enough to make something that I don't really want to use as a combination of color type of thing. So I might actually buy a couple of balls of the other colors here and there to pile up and put it in stash for whatever time they may come. I will tell you a bit more about that in a second as well. The second reason is that I am going away next week for my sister's graduation. So the company from which I'm buying the yarn said that it would ship within 5 to 7 days, which is exactly in the middle of the time where I'm away. So I can't keep knitting there because I don't have the yarn. If I buy the yarn, it won't come in time for me to collect the parcel, and probably the parcel will be sent back. So this combination of things made me really annoyed, and the jumper has been in a bag for the past 2 days. So very, very, very annoying. Now, let's get back to the rolled up edge. And I will tell you a story here. When I was a child, like not really a child, but like from, I say, 12 to 16 years of age, I used to be very big, really, really big. And I really didn't care about clothing. Well, I did care an awful lot about clothing, about appearance. But being that big, and being a child as well, I wasn't really going out to buy clothes. It was always quite mortifying to be in the shop and not being able to find stuff that you would wear or that would look nice on you, or find the size at all that would fit you. So the clothes that I have were just stuff that either my mother bought or I just bought in a whim of, yeah, let's buy something because I need to put on something to go out and be decent. But anyway, it was a very, very, very bad time of my being little. And I don't really remember that fondly. Anyway, I was really happy as a child, but that was a thing, when you start to turn from a child to a teenager and appearance becomes more and more important. Yeah, it was kind of a sad time of my life. Anyway, I remember having this jumper, and I can picture that in my mind every time I see a rolled up edge. That jumper was kind of orange, brown, black color, striped, horizontal stripe. It doesn't help, you will tell me. And I agree with that. The thing is that jumper was so ugly on myself, or I saw myself so ugly in that jumper, that I absolutely hated it with passion. And it had roll up sleeves, collar, and the bottom band. I remember spending hours in school just pulling up the sleeves and make the jumper to be kind of less tight on me. And that image made me hate with passion rolled up edges. So hence, you won't see me making one of those anytime soon. Hence the modification that I made there. But yeah, I think I said everything about that jumper. The last little bit is that you want to check out Yarbo website because it's full of beautiful free pattern. Some of them are in English, some other in other European languages. Check them out. They are absolutely great, super inspiring, once again, free. I know that I'm repeating myself, and I know that someone in the comments said that I know that month over month is the same stuff coming up. It's not true. I'm doing my best to bring to you some value with this video. I'm really doing my best. But you know yourself, if you have a podcast, you know how difficult it is to be inspiring to people all the time. It's a lot of pressure. If you don't have a podcast, you know exactly why you don't have a podcast. So bear with me, please. Anyway, once again, you can skip along and just check at the end of the podcast for the Pride make along. I don't know why I'm quoting the Pride make along that these wonderful people are running. Before we go on with the next work in progress, let me talk a bit about Pride here. How do I start? I haven't planned this at all, but let's start with Pride month. It's June. It's the month in which we celebrate LGBT people, LGBTQA+, and all the denominations. It's important to celebrate LGBT people, not just celebrate, but fight for the rights of LGBT people. Being you one of the LGBTQA+ letters, or being you an ally, being you someone that is a decent person and support the cause. It's becoming a celebration all around the world, as it should be. We should celebrate. We should show our colors. But as an Italian originally, I feel like we should still see this as a fight. Why I'm saying as Italian? You exactly know what the government direction in Italy is, a far-right government. LGBT people basically don't have any rights. There's no right of marriage, family, can't adopt a child, can't raise a family, can't inherit, can't do anything. It's a very, very bleak situation for LGBT people in Italy. And I'm seeing, for example, like how a parade and a pride parade is here in Ireland, for example, or in other countries in Europe, like the Netherlands. It's a great parade there, or Spain, or even Germany. The ones that I could check online or visit myself, they are massive, big celebration with big floats and balloons and flags, and everybody's singing and dancing on the streets. I've seen last week a pride parade held in Padova. It's a city in the north of Italy, and it reminded me of a strike. People were with megaphones shouting. The banners were not colorful, or there weren't balloons and music. It was really a fight for struggle. And that made me think how important it is for us all to remember to spend a word for the LGBT people, at least, if you don't want to go on the street or wave a pride flag outside, which is completely fine. It's very difficult over there, and I feel like somehow I am kind of not doing enough to support that. Hence why I am endorsing the knit-along that my online friends are organizing. And I have made a couple of years ago a little pride pin shaped like a heart. Fortunately, I don't have any here, although I've been knitting quite a few lately of those. They're like little heart shape things that you can knit in the pride colors, and I have made all the pride flags, so you can check them out there. Stick a pin on the back and use it as a kind of a show. There used to be a free pattern both on my Ravelry page and on my is it Lovecraft? I'm so out of this word lately. Anyway, now I am selling it for just the month of May, June, and probably July, and all the money that I receive from there will go to the House, which is an LGBT organization here in Dublin. It's a great organization that does wonders for the Dublin community, and it's very close to my heart, and it's very close to me physically. It's just around the corner. So I decided to donate 100% of the money I raise by selling the pride pin pattern to the Outhouse. I will put all the links below in the description, so you can check out the pattern, and if you want to buy it, you know that all the money will go to them. And as well, if you want to check out the Outhouse as well. Now, if you are an LGBT person, LGBTQA+, and so on, happy Pride Month. And if you are not, please join and send a message, a vocal message, a call, a card, something to one of your LGBT friends. I'm sure if you're watching this channel, or if you are a knitter, you do have some LGBT friends. So please give a word out. I've seen, by the way, a lovely advertisement from, I'd say, the Oslo Pride. I will put it on my Instagram stories, I'll share it, in which there are more scenes in this ad. It's a very short one. There is a guy that enter a bus, sit down. Right away, the next stop, another guy wearing all dark leather, being all like manly guy, enter, sits in front of him. The first guy, probably an LGBT person, is quite afraid and feel like to be judged. So he composed himself, he put himself very straight, he untangled his legs, and he hides the pride band that he has on his watch or something like that. And he's kind of afraid of the reaction of the person that just sat in front. At some point, the person in front, the guy, raises up his hand with to make a call, and shows a pride band on his wrists. And the other guy relaxes. Then turns into another image, and there are two girls clearly together. They enter a taxi, and the taxi driver, once again, big, strong guy, and the two girls just stop holding hands. At some point, the guy moves the phone from the car top or something, and there is a pride sticker there. And the girls smile and relax. Now, this made me think a lot about how all the time LGBT people need to check themselves when they are in company of other people. I myself do that all the time. How uncomfortable society can be sometimes. So something that it would be nice to do, I'm trying to find the right words not to offend anybody, is actually to wear something pridey. And I'm making that as my thing for the next while, at least for June. Always to have something rainbow colored on me, just to make people aware. Might be one of my pins if you want to support the outhouse, or I don't know, something else, a little band, a little sticker on your phone. Change your watch face with a pride color. Something very, very small to make other LGBT people to feel more comfortable. That would make the world to them, to all of us, to the people you are working with, to the cashier at the local supermarket, perhaps. You never know. Anyway, let's get on with our talking. And I have something very big to show you now. Here we go. And this is growing, and it never ends. So I know, still a work in progress, but we are probably 2 meters wide on this thing. I know that I showed you before, and I don't want to be repetitive, but I think we need a bit of an applause here, because this is finally growing. Before I talk to you about this thing, I want to show you this. Look at that. How beautiful is that join? I'm going to explain it to you in a second, and I probably need to put this down. This is my scrappy blanket. It's made with all the yarn ends that I have around the place. They are a granny square, a flower granny square. For reference, this is the back. And they are joined together with these little zigzag crochet things that I've just shown you, that I think is absolutely gorgeous. It's a big blanket. Now, it's almost 2 meters wide, and I plan to make it at least 2 meters tall as well, so a big square. and I do have to crochet a lot of granny square to finish this. I don't even know if I will ever make it to the end, but I'm happy to show some progresses because it's been a long time coming, and you probably have been wondering, where is your blanket? But yeah, it's a long-term project. When I listen to other podcasts and they say it's a long-term project, this is a long-term project, I never kind of get what long terms means, because I'm quite of, forgive me for being assertive here, but I'm quite of speedy with my needs. A jumper will last me about, I don't know, 3-4 weeks, apart from this one that is going on forever. But I understood what long term means in this case. It's been probably a year and a half since I started this thing, and it's still not even halfway through. So just wanted to share, we are making progresses, is getting massive, and now that is kind of summerish. I don't really have the willpower to crochet on this, to work on this. On the ground. This is it for work in progress. The other thing, knitting wise, I wanted to mention is a bit of an acquisition that I got. Not an acquisition, but it's an acquisition. What am I saying? So last week, the 5th of June, was my birthday. Yeah. And I turned 21 again, by the way, if you are asking. One of my friends here in Ireland got me this present. This is a Peer Gynt by Sandnes, color 6364. It's this gorgeous blue. And they got me 13 balls of yarn, which is absolutely fantastic. Though, now, taking into account what I just said before about having to buy the perfect from Sandnes, because I don't have enough yarn, I know that this is not going to be enough. I know that I need at least 1 or 2 more balls. I could, with a stretch, make something out of this, or joining with other colors. But because I already have 13 balls, I don't think I want to make a color work. I think I want to make a nice blue color, I don't know, cable sweater, iron jumper type of thing. And I just need those 2 balls to be able to get it without fail. Every time I need one of those iron jumpers, I use 14 balls of this yarn. So having 13 is a bigger risk. So yeah, when I am finally placing the order for the Sandnes Scarf Perfect, I will have to place an order for one at least of these ones. But it's a lovely little present. It's the first time that someone for my birthday give me yarn, and I didn't really know how to react because it was so surprising the fact that they knew about my passion around knitting. I'm not really vocal about this, and as well that they picked a yarn that I love. Color is questionable, but it's gonna be a blue jumper, which is completely fine. By the way, it's getting very warm here, and I can't open the window, the door there, because they are mowing the lawns outside and it's very noisy. Now, before talking to you about the Pride make-along, let's jump into books that I've been reading. With work being super busy and with some family issue that I had and some other things, I haven't been painting almost at all in the last couple of weeks or since we spoke. And therefore, the time that I spent on myself has been between this tiny bit of knitting and reading. I found it really comforting just to spend a couple of hours at night before bed to read. Though I found it as well that reading before bed is not good for your quality of sleep. It makes me anxious, especially for the type of books that I decided to read. So let's go in order. The first book that I've finished is this one, which is A Storm of Steel from Ernst Junger. Very famous book. You probably know about this. You probably read this. It's a story of it's the story of the author as a soldier during First World War on the Western Front between France, Britain, and Germany. And it's very tough as a book. It describes in very gruesome details what happened at the front and the situation in which the soldiers were, and so on and so forth. But having said that, it's absolutely full of humanity. I'm sure there are movies based on this book. I'm sure it's very well acclaimed, and my way of describing it is not really helping at all. I thoroughly enjoyed it, probably one of the best books I've read. It's very tough though. Finished this, I read this, I say, in 2 days. It was just terrifying, but at the same time, page turner. I started this one and I finished this actually in probably less than 2 days. This is, I have the Italian version here, is Nothing New from the Western Front from Henry Maria Remarque, which is another book around the First World War, same front, same point of view from the German side. And could be the language being the first book that I read in English, the second one in Italian. Could be reading this in Italian made even more of an impression on me. It's once again a very gruesome, but as well very touching book. Really describing the situations in which the soldiers were, the pain, the desire of a better life, and so on and so forth. I think these books need to be in every politician's drawer, and they need to read them, because I can't understand if we have these books and many others that tell an account of wars and soldiers' life and prisoners' life, how still do we have wars in the world? I understand if someone has not been in the war itself, so can't, in first account, feel what they felt. But if we have these accounts, I don't think it's needed to feel first person what that means. You have these people that felt it before you, and they tell you what it is like, why you're still doing that. There are many examples going on in the war right now. I won't get into it. This podcast is already too gloomy. Anyway, finish these two books to get myself into a better mood, to relax, not to think about all the awful things that happen in the world. I am starting this one. And this is Strumpet City by James Plunkett. This is a very old version that I don't know how I came to have this, to be honest, but it's an absolutely glorious book. I would recommend it if you decide to come to visit Dublin. it's quite light as a book. I read it before, as you can tell from the state of the book itself. And I always grab it when when I feel a bit sorry for myself, or when I need to, I don't know, feel cozy at home, feel like the Dublin vibes. This is a story that takes place in 1907. I think it starts around 1907. Ireland is not yet a country, a free country, still governed by the British. The book starts with the arrival of a royal visit to Ireland, and goes into many funny, sad love stories, many situations that are happening through the city. But the beauty of the book, and why I'm saying that if you're coming to visit Dublin, read it, is because it describes Dublin city in a very beautiful, humane, and I don't know, gorgeous way. It feels like Dublin is hugging you when you read this book. And by the end, you know exactly where you are. You know exactly what's happening in which corner of Dublin, and it's absolutely gorgeous. They have there's one of the stories that intermingle here is a love story between two young people, Mary and Fitz. Mary is a servant in a very respectable family, and Fitz is a laborer. And they love each other so much. There is a piece of dialogue that is probably my favorite page of, I say, any book, and you may find this very cheesy. Let me find it for you, and I read it to you, and I'll read it to you. So basically, Mary has been working for this family, and she invents a story about an old aunt that is sick, to ask the master of the house to leave the house and visit the aunt. But instead of visiting the old aunt, she is meeting Fitz. Back in the days, it wasn't allowed for a servant and housemaid to leave the house, wander around at pleasure. So anyway, the story comes out, she gets dismissed. And one night, the last few days of work that she had in this house, she meets Fitz, and she says to him, "It all seems so simple now that you are with me, but when you're not here, I'm going to be afraid." And I found this sentence, so now, even now that I'm saying to you, it's okay when I'm with you, but I'm so afraid when I'm alone, or even better, when I'm alone, I'm going to be afraid. Guys, it's just heartbreaking. It's so beautiful. Anyway, I read this book. It's great. Now, we are done with the chatting. We are done with the books. There's nothing else. After this recording is finished, I'm going to jump into working. It's 9:30. I should be working already. We'll work later this evening, but I really wanted to film this podcast. Let's talk about Pride Make-A-Long. Check the links and the description below. I put all the links to these amazing people that are organizing the Make-Along, and you can have even better and more precise informations, as well as the way to join in down there. So now, who are they? Be Extra Podcast, then Gary Needs a Podcast, and the Great Welsh Tenor, or NEAT 365, are organizing the Pride Make-Along 2025. And on June 21st, they will start the Make-Along with a Zoom call. All the links are going to be found in one of the channels. I am sure that the Zoom call is going to be open for as many people as possible, and the great hosts are doing an amazing job to make this seamless and let anybody participate. I'm into a group chat with them. They seem really excited about the make along. Unfortunately, I don't have any update yet on what it consists about. It's a bit of a surprise, but give a follow to Gary Needs, the Welsh tenor, and the Be Extra podcast to be sure to get the updated information, and hit the bell button in their podcast as well, so you're sure to jump there when they publish more information. If I have any from them by my side, I will put it, I will reshare it in my podcast as well as on my Instagram account, so you'll get all the informations there. I will be joining almost certainly on the 21st of June with I will be joining the Zoom call. I know that this probably is going to be live as well on the 365 Knitting podcast, Knit 365 podcast. So Martin is going to do a great job in organizing everything. And if you follow him, you know that Martin is an extremely well-prepared, well-organized person, especially when it comes to technology, something that I'm not good at. So very happy to kind of promote this make-along, and very happy to join in. I have all my rainbows yarn ready, and we'll see what that will be all about. And once again, as I was saying before, it's always good to have some support for the LGBTQA plus community. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this podcast, and if you did, please consider to give myself a thumbs up here. This will help to get some visibility all around the internet, and as well to subscribe to my channel. What can I say? Another comment that I received today is all about the comment. I'm in a very spidery mood, by the way. Another comment that I received that I particularly didn't like is that, and you can find it below the previous video because I left it there just for people to know, that all the podcasters are asking for money and donations. And I am not asking for money and donations here. If you want to donate to the outhouse, buying my pattern is just a way for you to make some charity. It's not for me to retain any money. And by God, you know, if you are a podcaster yourself, that you're not making a penny on YouTube, and the hope of making a penny on YouTube is so far away that you don't even think about it. So if you decide to support the podcasters, is not because they want to become rich people, is because you enjoy the content and you support the content, because so you have more content. I'm not asking for a donation. I have a camera, I have a very old laptop, and I'm fine with making content like this. As well, I never ever ask for donations of yarn or materials. On the other hand, I refuse donations where they came to me because I just don't need them. But these people that are commenting these horrible things, they don't know what it's like. Anyway, let's just me leave you on this rant, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful Pride Month. Bye bye.